Wives, you are not married to your husband. You are married to the ideal version of him. You are married to who you want him to be, not who he currently is. My name is Dr. David Taylor, and I am the marriage counselor. On this channel, you will get real marriage advice from a real marriage counselor. No fluff, just truth. Now let's get to work. In today's discussion, I will be discussing a topic that may be more popular with the husbands than it is with the wives. Today's session will focus on how most wives are married to the fantasy. Wives, I understand that this episode may trigger you. And as a matter of fact, this episode will most likely rub you in some way. But just hear me out, because this episode will highlight something that I actually see 95% of the time when working with wives. Meaning, the majority of the times that I am working with a wife, whether it is in individual counseling or couples counseling, this concern manifests. Again, pay close attention. Do not let how this information makes you feel distract you from the truth. Lastly, this information will be extremely useful for you if you take this correctly. This will help you to increase your awareness in three things. Number one, this will help you to see how you show up inside of your marriage. This will also help with regards to the expectations that you brought with you into your marriage, as well as how they shape how you interact with your husband. Actually, to go a step further, this information will help you to be more aware of how you see him altogether. I would like to start with a very polarizing statement. Wives, you are not married to your husband. You are married to the ideal version of him. You are married to who you want him to be, not who he currently is. For example, if I asked you to imagine your ideal husband, what he looks like, how he acts, how he treats you, how he carries himself, most likely this guy will look vastly different than the husband that lies next to you at night. Most likely, who you desire for your husband to be and who he actually shows up as are two completely different individuals. But wait, of course, there's always more. What I'm about to say is not an opinion. This is not my personal thoughts. These are real-life observations by a real-life therapist who spends the majority of his time working with these types of situations on an almost daily basis. I have noticed that not only is the wife married to the potential of her husband, she fights to get him to fit that ideal image. The basis of many of her conflicts with him is him not meeting the expectation or standards that she has set for him and the marriage. See, she has an idea of how the marriage should feel, and that image is often perpetuated by social media, movies, and her peer group. She wants the fullness of love and believes that here in the marriage, this is the perfect place to create such an experience. That is why for her, marriage is all about an experience, and women will go to extreme lengths to capture just a whiff of that experience. Women will tolerate some extreme dysfunction from their husband to get it, and they will in the process become dysfunctional if that means getting a taste of the ideal experience of marriage. Wives, please do not disqualify yourselves here, because I have found that most wives are not in love with their husbands. They are in fact in love with the idea of achieving their ideal husband. They are in love with how it would potentially feel to be loved by that ideal husband. And because this is the case, they will struggle to be truly satisfied in their marriages. To go a step further, I have noticed that many wives settle for the husbands that they have because they truly feel that he can become the husband that she desires. She is patient, but persistent. On the surface, she appears accepting, but beneath the surface, she secretly resents him for not delivering on his promises. She resents him because she is loyal to love, even if it means not being fulfilled. She secretly resents him because love is truly painful. And this is why many husbands echo the same sentiment. It doesn't matter what I do, it is never good enough for her. It's because it is not good enough for her. Husbands, your lackluster current performance is in direct contradiction with the mask that you wore to court her. You convinced her that true love is real, and in her desperate attempt to capture such a mirage, she bought into your presentation. You duped her into believing that you were different, that you were romantic, emotionally balanced, empathic, nurturing, strong, smart, responsible, and moral. She believed you because she wanted to, even when she saw the yellow flags. She believed you even when she saw that the mirage was not tangible. She believed you because it's easy to hide behind what you are not receiving so that you never have to focus on who you really are. Wives, I need you to stick with me for a second. This next part is equally important. See, the wife doesn't have to grow. She only needs to appear in motion, busy with the demands of her life, of motherhood, of being a wife. Her mobility highlights the husband's stagnation, which is why she will often bring him to me. But see, I see the truth. She's in motion, but she's not in progress. Her motion is merely her attempts at moving the marriage towards the mirage that masquerades as the ideal image. And doing so hides her wifely blemishes because the husband's flaws stand out the most. See, no one is actually pointing out the fact that she lost herself somewhere in the marriage as she toiled in desperation, attempting to catch the elusive shadow of marital success. She buried herself deep beneath the veneer of raising her kids, of being a wife, of making a house into a home. But this is why wives desire presentation. See, I recently did a podcast episode where I discussed 5 things that wives often use to perpetuate their ideal marriage. I will briefly cover those 5 things here. Grab your notebooks. I will call these the 5 P's to being a wife. The first P is the P of performance. See, the greater the performance, the more wives feel cared for. The more she feels cared for, the more connected she feels. See, performance means that whatever the husband does has to be done with intention and effort. It doesn't have to be grand. It just has to show that it, whatever it is, matters to her. The second P is the P of present. Probably the greatest way for your husband to connect with you is to be present with you. This is accomplished through his attention, his time, and his energy. He can be in the same home with you and not be present, because present means that he is intentionally engaging in the things that matter to you the most. Present means that he sees you, that he feels you. The third P is the P of presentation. This is an important one because, see, women are romantic and fanatical creatures. They are feelers and by nature are great at creating very emotion-driven narratives about almost any experience that they have. If being present means dealing in reality, presentation means feeding the fantasy. This is why 50 Shades of Grey was one of the best-selling book series of all times. It was something about that book that fed the fantasy that most, if not all, women have. The fourth P is the P of prioritize. This one should go without needing much explanation. See, wives need to feel prioritized. It's not a want, it's a need. What matters to her often has to come first. Okay, so the last P is the P of protection. And this is the same P that most men have. But for wives, it looks a little different because, see, wives want and need to feel that they are their safest with their spouses. Wives need to feel that their husbands can protect them based on what she needs, not based on what is comfortable for him. Wives don't really want to lead. They want to be nurtured through their husband's ability to emotionally, physically, spiritually, and financially protect her. So wives, why is this information important? Why is it necessary to discuss? Why remember the 5 Ps for wives? Well, the answer is quite simple. The 5 Ps are often how you chase the fantasy. They impact how and why you show up in your marriage. These 5 Ps become the barometers for how you define marital success and satisfaction, especially the Ps of performance and presentation. Wives tend to desire the P of performance because love is often determined by doing. If he does things that you desire but on an inconsistent basis, you will push him to be more consistent. But what if he's a natural 5 in an area that you desire for him to be an 8 in? What if his truth is that he only has $20, but you desire and prefer 100? I have found that it is usually at this point in the marriage that the husband doesn't feel seen or accepted, and the wife feels unfulfilled. Most of her conflicts become a subconscious plea for more from her husband, a question of whether or not he truly loves her in the manner that she desires to be loved. Additionally, she wants the results of presentation. That's why most women want lavish weddings. That's why most women want the appearance of success, even if it's merely an image. See, most pictures that you see on social media is a snapshot of a desired experience. It's because the image represents the most preferred presentation of her life, one without flaws and blemishes. And most wives have marriages with filters on them because she isn't interested in settling for a level 5 when she really wants a level 9 husband. But let me ask you a very important question. How can you truly see your husband if you are looking past him? How can you truly love your husband if you are married to his ideal image? How can you truly accept the husband that you have if you keep putting a filter on him? Now, hear me clearly. I am very aware that this entire episode was devoted to wives, and some of you may even feel attacked. Please understand, I am not the enemy, I promise you. I only want for your awareness to be awoken on a much deeper level so that those things that are unknown aren't interfering with your marriage. So, here is an action item that I want you to ponder as we wrap up this session. For your action item, I want you to answer these 3 questions. Question number 1, how is your desire for the ideal version of your marriage disrupting you from seeing your true marriage? Number 2, is this your way of not facing reality? And number 3, are you afraid that if you stop pushing your husband to be his ideal self, that you will have to settle for a level 5 marriage? Now listen, I know that these questions can be very difficult to answer and scary to face. So, wives, do not hesitate to reach out to me if you have any questions or concerns or would like further help with this. I'm only an email away. Okay, so I'll wrap up here. Just know that it is my desire that both you and your spouse use this information to take your marriage to the next level. But remember, you get out of your marriage what you put into your marriage, not what you want from your marriage. So get to work putting in the work. Lastly, if this information was useful, I invite you to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel so that you never miss any new episode that will be coming out in the future. I have a lot of information just ready for you guys. So I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.